Well, everybody, they left us this week, or he left us. We've been left by the wayside while Ben is having a great time partying with Drew from Wanted Comics in Orlando. He left the three of us to do the Hot 10. So, welcome to the comicbookinvest.com Hot 10 list. Oh boy. Oh boy. What up, everybody? Welcome to the CBSI Hot 10 list. Of course, written usually by the one and only Ben S. But as you can see, he's out partying. He's out having a good time with the fam. Him and the fam decided to go to Orlando, and just so happened that our best buddy Drew from Wanted Comics happened to be at Orlando at the same time, and they're out partying. Well, we're in here just working, doing the Hot 10. They're just having a great old time. So really happy for Ben and Drew to get some time out, spend time with the family, and enjoy life a little. Don't worry, we'll continue along with the list this week, and the list this week is different than normal because it was written by the CBSI writers. Now, you guys know usually the list is. Excuse me, I'm all over the place right now. The list is usually written by Ben Stein, the one and only Ben Steiniger at The Wall Comics. Like I said, he's on vacation. So the writers of comicbookinvest.com decided to take their chance at the list this week. So we're going to be going over that. But as you guys know, before we do the list, we do the almost 10, and the almost 10 list is written by us every week, and me and Richie got to put in some beauties this week, so we're going to go over that to start, but I want to remind everybody that immediately following this we have the Mighty Mel V channel, It's Drunken Chat Son show. What's up, Lucas? What's the word tonight?
4 hours of y'all just looking at me, looking at the camera, freaking just pouring a drink. That's
Amen.
all we're going.
Having fun.
and hearing Ultra and you off camera go. I don't know what that sound is.
Yeah, it's all
Might
good.
need to check some pipes or something, but no.
Yeah, we're gonna have a good time. That's just like every It's Drunken Chat Son. So
Yes,
Friday night with the comics crew. Thank you guys for being out late with us. So let's get into the almost 10 list. This was a fun one this week. Usually Ben shoots me some books and it all makes us go, And so we went and grabbed a couple of really good ones this week. So let's get into it. The first one being this one. We talk about this a couple of times throughout the years. This is the Midway Mortal Kombat Collector's Edition comic, which they made quite a few of these. Some people don't know. Here's the back. It is a wraparound cover. And this Midway book sold for a grip. It sold for like $200. One of them sold for $200 this week. Yeah. And the crazy thing about this book is this. Let's go to the Mortal Kombat wiki. I really love these wikis that come out. They have them for Star Wars and all kinds of things. So it says the Mortal Kombat's Collector's Edition comics were pre-order, mail order tie-in prequels to several of the original games, and they made quite a few of them. They made one, the first one, and there was a couple others. One for Mortal Kombat 4. But be on the lookout not only for this one, which is the one we're showing you, but here's another one that a lot of people don't know about. This is the second version of the Collector's Edition comic book that keeps the story going. The story is continuing. They did a third edition. This one's tough to find, too. These are all really tough to find. And then this is from Mortal Kombat 4 that they ended it. So tough books to find. Keep an eye out for them. If you can find that original one, it sells for quite a bit. The other ones probably sell for a pretty penny too. Yeah. So here we go. Listen, Mighty Mel V's in spirit saying, "I have this book and sold it for $20."
Really, Mel. So yeah, because for the last year or two, what I've been saying, hey, these big franchise books, this is what we need to freaking keep an eye out for. And when the movie popped off, right, because HBO Max actually had this, and I was like, hey, you know what? The movie wasn't as bad as it could have been. And but here's what it was. So like you just like you pointed out, it was that this was a midway book. Who the hell is midway? Well, that's this own little thing, and you had to write to the writer of the comic book. You sent him a letter, or I think you sent him some money or something like that, and he like personally sent this crap out. And that's how you freaking got it. You weren't gonna just find this on your local comic book shop. You,
Well,
you had to get this through the mail, which was
the cool
crazy.
thing is that John Tobias did the art. So
And also, there's 9 first appearances in it. You have first
yeah,
appearance of Kung Lao, Shang Tsung, Goro, Sonya, Kano, I think his name is, and then you have Raiden first appearance, Sub Zero first appearance, and Scorpion first appearance.
yeah. Crazy book. Really cool. All of them are really cool. Shout out to Sinister Titan that says Toasty.
Great pick.
Love this game. I remember pumping a lot of money back into it in the day. Yeah, good stuff. All right.
Yeah.
Speaking of video games, the next almost 10, this Rick and Morty book is absolutely crazy. This is the variant cover for Rick and Morty 16. It is the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive from 2016. And shout out to, I think it's Comic Man Andy that absolutely loves The Last of Us. And those Last of Us comics are crazy to get. Super tough. And here's another one to throw in the stack. Be on the lookout for the Rick and Morty San Diego Comic-Con exclusive variant. Cool homage. Pretty surprising that they did this homage back all the way in 2016. I don't know. I wasn't big on that game. I know it's a big game, but it's also a big comic. So
I've never seen it before, and I
Yeah.
love Rick and Morty.
yeah, cool book.
It's
Cool
weird.
book. All right, here's a big book. Now, we all saw the recent Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse #2 trailer. It was amazing. It's probably some of the biggest news this week, if not the biggest news this last week. That was just like so cool to see it. There's a lot of great things that happened to it. We'll get into it tonight on both shows. But a lot of us have been talking about the character Spot for a while now, that this character is going to be great in this movie. And from what we're hearing, that is the case. And you can get his first appearance here in Spectacular Spider-Man #98, along with this book right here, which I love, #99. Our first cover appearance, and great cover, one of the great covers. There is Canadian price variants and newsstands, obviously, for both. But what do you guys think about this character?
Mark Jewelers also on top of that. I love this character, Brian. You know, I've been speculating on this character for a while. Wasn't my own digging. Charles Murphy reported back in February that he got good. I guess you can say solid knowledge that this character would be the main villain in Into the Spider-Verse 2. To add to these 2 books, in case you missed a boat and they're too expensive, like Brian said, #99 is the second appearance and first cover, but you also have Spectacular Spider-Man 94 and 97, which is the actual alter ego of Spot, Jonathan Owen. And you can get his first appearance and cameo on issue number 94, and in issue 97 would be the full appearance, but 98 and 99 are the money books, 98 especially. But you know, the way the market is with covers, I always got to grab the first cover.
Yep. Amen. And from what I'm hearing, that this character is freaking awesome. We've had a couple people just drop a little dime saying, trust me, this is going to be a great foil, a great character. It's going to continue on in the comics, and it should give him a good outlook in the comics coming in the future.
His superpower, he jumps from dimension to dimension. Like you can see on issue 99, he's punching Peter Parker and all these different. So, you know, the speculation is and Carter, if you're not subscribed to him, Mercenaut, he come up with a pretty good idea. It's just, you know, connecting dots, just a theory. But like if Moreland ended up showing up, we could see these two, like, you know, teaming up and going after Miles or the Spider-Verse, and then Moreland using Spot to jump through from dimension to dimension, multiverse to multiverse. So pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to this Into the Spider-Verse 2, part 1.
Me too.
So, all right. You got anything, Lucas?
No, man. I mean, you guys basically captured it. I mean,
Yeah.
everything. I mean, this whole multiverse thing, Marvel is really leaning into it. I know they were reticent to do it at first because when it comes to like multiverses, you know, that may not have been like people may not have loved it because hey, you know, that's higher brain stuff, right? But they with the whole Loki thing, they showed that it works. Where you know, hey, this happens, so I could probably go back and fix it, not in this plane, but on another plane. So this is going to be interesting. You know, so now what movies do we have that's coming out with this whole multiverse or that's linking is you got Spider-Man, right? You got um Doc Strange, right? They're gonna have, in fact, they started fixing some of the scenes to make sure it works. So let's see how it works, man. I don't know how long they're gonna be able to freaking play it off before people get
Yeah.
tired of it, right?
Yeah.
But
I think they've
it's
got a good
definitely
couple
be
years.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. This next one is really cool. Shout out to Nico for this one. He saw this one, a retailer exclusive preview copy of Batman Adventures 1.
Wow.
Recently sold this week for $222. That was on December 8th. That is crazy. I've never seen this book. I imagine there's multiples out there. Of course, we've all seen little previews and ash cans that they give comic shops, you know, especially back in the day, you know, hey, this is what we have coming. They're all very, very rare. Some are more rare than others. I've never seen this one, and obviously a lot of people want it if it sold for $222. So Batman Adventures, a much beloved series and you know, IP altogether.
Absolutely agree.
Wow. So were there any first appearances in this at all? Do we know?
Well, I don't think there was any real first appearances in issue 1. I remember, wasn't that a Penguin issue?
Yes.
I think so.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
still sought after, but it's, you know, not like issue 12, you know.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. But very, very cool book. Keep your eye out for these cool previews. If you get them for cheap enough, they're worth some money. So,
Right.
all right, this next book is pretty cool. I've always been a fan of Jamie Madrox, the Multiple Man. I thought he was amazing in the X Factor series where he was the main guy. He's always just been a really cool character. They started out as a villain. This was his first appearance. Giant size Fantastic Four, number 4. I used to pick this up all the time as a kid, you know, when I was collecting as a kid, because you could find it for so cheap. They're not so cheap anymore. And that's,
Really?
yeah, let's take a look at some recent sales here. As you guys can see, copies are selling $42, $35, $168 for a really nice copy for 28 bids.
Wow.
$57, $69, you know, $159.75 on 33 bids. So this book is starting to move. It'll be interesting. I haven't heard anything that he might be in, but he's such a great character. So be on the lookout for, you know, giant size Fantastic Four number 4. And I also believe that giant size Fantastic Four, is it number 1, might be the first appearance of the original 4 Horsemen. I don't quote me on that. It's one of those books. I love the giant size series. You know, you always got, you know, more reading for your buck back in the day. But Jamie Madrox, the Multiple Man, is getting some love. So
Now, Annihilus is Fantastic Four Special 6, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. We talked about Into the Spider-Verse, how great it was. Matter of fact, on the channel this week, we've been hit with 2 copyright, not strikes, but copyright, whatever, you know, claims on our videos because we played the previews, because the previews or the trailer is so good, you have to play it. So we played it, and of course, you know, everybody's loving what they're seeing. They're talking about multiple characters from that series, but the character that they're talking about the most, that I see the most, is Spider-Man 2099. Love this character. I've been showing off my of course, Toy Biz action figures, where this comes from. A lot of people might not know, but this is from the Spider-Man 2099 Spider-Man Classic series, which came out in December of 2001. This is one of the original comic packs. And let me see if I can show you guys this here. A really cool, you know, figure back in the day. Let me open up this image in a new tab. It's not going to let me. But of course, here, let me show you this.
Came out in 91?
It came out a long time ago. This is what it looks like. Really, really cool. I would much rather have it in a 9.8, but it's impossible to find a 9.8 because you have creasing right here 99% of the time, as you guys can see. And really, really tough book. But
pretty cool,
love. Yeah, absolutely love this book, and it's so hard to find in high grade. But a little info on the figure: it was only sold through KB toy stores, so makes
No
it even
way.
rare. Yeah, makes it even rare. It was released as a late addition to the Spider-Man Classic line, which people love. It has the Ben Reilly, it has the the symbiote character, it has just a regular one, and they loved them because it was one of the first like 30 points of articulation figures. They were just much
Really?
beloved back in the time. So they put out a special. Toy Biz did a special through KB Toy Stores. We all remember our KB Toy Stores, much beloved KB Toy Stores in the malls. And yeah, you could have got one of these at your toy store for like $8. $4, I think $4.99. I still have the KB Toy Store.
Wow.
Yeah, little things on mine, and just a really, really great book. Of course, the Spider-Man 2099 #1 is flying, as well as ASM 365. But remember, ASM 365 is just a preview of this book.
Mm.
So, but the cool thing, you guys, is this one, Marvel 1991 annual report. What's going on with this, Richie?
Yeah, so this book, I mean, you guys all know how I feel about preview appearances, but we're talking about Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2999 here. So there's a lot of previewing going on here that the market has, recognized as first appearance. So let's just put that to the side and let's talk about this one. This one came out, Brian, about 5-6 months before ASM 365 and about 7 months before Spider-Man 2099 issue 1. This actually has the first appearance of Spider-Man 2099 in cameo, I guess you could say, for a non-standard comic story or in a magazine size book. There's also a bunch of other stuff. There's various writers in here. There's an actual full appearance that occurs of Spider-Man 2099 also in an additional story in this book. On top
Really?
of that, you have
Jesus.
it also explains Spider-Man 2099's timeline, like all of his appearances in timeline. It's a very interesting book. It's tough to find. To be honest with you, I'm not into preview spec, as you guys know, but you know what? It's a reality. Collectors love this stuff now, and this has always been one on my list. So I would keep my eye out on this one. This is cheap too. I think that $30, $40 it sold for recently.
Yeah, very cool. I love stuff like this. I'll be trying to find stuff like this. I always love, if you're a collector of a character, you try to get everything. It's like Pokemon, just grab them all. Real quick, they also put out some Daredevil Spider-Man classics. They did a regular and a yellow variant, so be on the lookout for those Daredevils too.
Brian, what does the toy go for? But going back to
the toy, well, let's take a look. Let's do this. Let's take a look at what we got here. See if we can find it here.
Cool.
Toy Biz. Let's try that. So usually they sell for a lot, just the regular figure. Here you go, $500, $500, $500, $475.
Wow.
$475. So yeah, $500. Here's all the figures. Like, be on the lookout for all these. These were pre Marvel Legends, you guys, and you can see there. Here's a lot. They all look the same. They have the Spider-Mans and all the poses, other than that one. And then the Riley is just reversed. Here's the Ben Riley. It comes
cool.
with a. Yeah,
You
and if
gotta be kidding me,
it's got a variant in the back of that too. So be on the lookout for that variant for 115. Here's the Daredevil, and it comes in yellow also. So yeah, be on the lookout for all of them. They're really, really tough to find. They go for a crap ton, especially as you guys can see, the Spider-Man 2099, 350. Just the book in 8.0, sells for over $200. The figure itself sells for quite a bit, and people just love that character, so they're always looking for him. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Very, very cool stuff. Let's get into the next one. Almost 10, Bombshell. Now we all kind of talked about characters to spec on Hawkeye the series. This wasn't one of them, and now all of a sudden here we are. What's going on with this, Richie?
So watching the show, didn't hear anything. I didn't see the cast. I mean, typically before every episode, IMDb has the casting of every character, typically like right before the show, they release it. And I didn't notice this, but I'm watching the show. I think I was listening, or I don't know what I was doing, but then I hear the person who's Wendy Conrad talking to Jeremy Renner's character Hawkeye about a bag, and she's like, "Don't you have your own bag?" She's like, "This is my bag," and he's like, "Wendy, like he's looking at her like, you're being ridiculous," and then she's like, "Well, I had my wife had it embroidered Bombshell, and I know Bombshell right away," and I'm like, "Oh no!" So I went in there and I looked, and book wasn't moving, so I went and grabbed a couple Canadian price variants. I posted on my IG and said, "Hey, be on the lookout of this book, confirmed in the NCU, very strong cameo." Um, at the time, I think there's like 2 a.m, 2 hours after the episode dropped. I think the book was like between $3 in mid grade, high grade, maybe 10. The Canadian price variants were, I got them from my comic shop VFs. I got them all. I got 4 of them. They're all $6.40. So yeah, I mean, this is interesting. And then I went and did a little research on her. She's got 22 full appearances in Marvel Comics. She got 4 cover appearances, and she also joins a few teams. But there's also another version of her, and I'll shout out Sleepy John and Josh from Flipside that they brought to my attention, which is Bombshell Earth 1610, which it's not the same character, but this is her first cover appearance of her variant, I guess you can say, of
The Ultimate
these
Universe.
these are called Bombshells. In the Ultimate Universe, this is a second print of issue 2. This is when she joins the new Sinister Six, and this is the Ultimate version. Remember, it's not the same version as the Hawkeye series, but it's still a cool character to and these are dirt cheap books. Just keep your eye out for, and probably grab a couple.
Look, the polka dot man.
Yep.
Yeah,
There he is.
yeah.
Yep.
So
Electro's there. Look, Sandman.
Yep.
So what's the name of that? Is that like a version of the Sinister Six right there? Or
Yes.
Yeah, that is Sinister Six 3. So that's the third iteration of the Sinister Six from Earth 1610.
Yep.
That would be Miles Sinister Six if he went up against him, I guess.
Yeah, because that's Miles's uncle right there.
Yeah, Prowler.
Yeah.
So I thought the Bombshell was actually interesting. I hope my friends on IG were able to grab a copy before the spike. I know that it has had some gains on the secondary market. Keep your eye out for the Canadian price variants. Canadian price variants will have our newsstands, but instead of 60 cents, it says 75 cents. And if you're still unfamiliar, go to my IG at _DO1LAR_, and you can
go.
Check it out.
All right, the final almost 10 book for you guys this week is Ultimate Comics, all new Spider-Man issue number 5. We've talked about this book before, debating, is this the book you should get, for first in costume Miles? And I think we all kind of agreed. And there's been a little bit of change in the grading market, not necessarily, the top of the heap, but it could change something moving forward. What's the news on this, Richie?
Shout out to my boy Batcave Comics, who brought this to the attention of us over here at Flipside. I think he spoke to Mel from It's Drunken Chat Son, our very close friend, Mighty Mel V, and this was on the Spec 10 a few months ago. But recently, he is pretty excited because he had it pressed, he sent it in for grading, and the label came back, Origin of Miles Morales, and then the second part of the label, it said something like Miles Morales becomes Miles Morales officially becomes the new Spider-Man. So there is a little bit of debate that has been going on over the last 4 days in the market and my IG comic community that is, questioning Ultimate Fallout 4. There's no question that Ultimate Fallout 4 is the book for Miles Morales. But, he doesn't become the ultimate Spider-Man, until he gets this costume and is officially done, and also given the name by what's his name, Nick Fury. So
yeah, it is a PGX book. That's what we said, JJ. It said it might not be the top of the heap, right? It might not be CGC or CBCS, but at least one grading company is saying it, so that's giving it a little bit of movement, right? So.
Right.
It is
Interesting book.
PGX though. Just remember that. We'll see what happens.
It's had some gains this week, Brian. It was like a $5-10 book. My Batcave Comics, he went ahead and posted a few, I guess you could say, his case on IG, and few people listened. And I noticed on the secondary market, this book is flying off the shelves.
Cool. Very cool.
You know, something to keep an eye out on is the whole Beyond storyline that's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, the Beyond Corporation is going to go after Miles Morales to get him to stop using any type of Spider-Man in his name whatsoever. So, and I think they're going to be successful at it. So what he's going to use after that is going to be something to keep an eye out on.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, you guys. Well, you remember that's the almost 10. We come up with that every week here at Tales from the Flip Side. You can only find it here on Tales from the Flip Side. But before we get into the rest of the list, I do want to let everybody know, go check out cardstopper.com and Comic Barricade. Get your Comic Barricade items. Use the code word Flipside for 10% off. Just great tools over there, and they're much necessary, especially for cards right now. I'm loving using them in my card sorting, so make sure you guys check them out. All right, before we get into the rest of the list, like I said at the beginning, this was a week off for Ben, and the much beloved writers over at comicbookinvest.com decided to put their hat into the mix and talk about some cool books this week. So this is the list as written by the writers over at comicbookinvest.com. Thank you to all the writers over there. Let's get into it. And I'll be reading what they say for each one of these. So the Golden Age book of the week. Oh, big boy book.
Again.
Hey.
Man, so what's interesting is, I've been, as part of the whole, year-end closeout, I've been going back through like the last 6 or 7 years of top 10 stuff, and this book keeps showing up over and over and over again. And there was a time when this book was going for maybe $600 at one point. When people started keeping an eye on this book. What is it at now?
Well, this is what they write. It looks like recently a 3.0 broke the 9K mark this week.
Wow.
Yeah. So here's what the CBSI writers write. Lee Elias with the Danzig homage. Okay, not really, but Misfits fans used to be the only ones in the know. Now this book is setting new records with a 3.0 breaking the 9K mark this week. That's about 10 times what it was 5 years ago and 2 times what it was in the spring. Ben Stein always drops an awesome Gold Age book in the spot. Just want to take a second to express how much I enjoy seeing the Golden Age books he comes up with. So I'm not sure which writer said that. They don't have the writers, so I'll just say, CBSI writer, thank you. That's a really cool sentiment. And great book, like you said. It's a big book that we see again and again because of the crazy sales that come. Very classic book. I know Danzig fans and old school fans love this, but Danzig wore Uggs. So on to the next honorable mention. Speaking of rock and roll and music, you guys know I talk about the Nirvana homages for Nevermind. I love those homages. I love the Ninja Turtles one, the Deadpool one. There was recently a Javin Jordan put out an amazing one that I still do not own.
Nice.
That if you guys got an extra one, you know where to find me. But this one is a recent one for Department of Truth. It's not an homage to Nevermind, but it is an homage to Nirvana. It says limited. This is what the CBSR writer said. Limited to 400 and 270 for 2 different covers. The cover A has been selling at $50 and moving strong with sets hitting 150, including half a dozen moving on Whatnot. So it does look like this is a exclusive. I don't know who for. We're going to stay by Ben Stein's rules, but you guys can go find it. Looks like it's getting some love. Of course, the famous video there that just kind of changed a lot of people's lives, whether indirectly or directly. It was a game changer for human history, I would say. So,
and on top of that, you have DOT, the whole Department of Truth, and Tiny, and his whole arc is about conspiracy theories. one of the largest or most, I guess you could talked about conspiracy theory in the entertainment industry is the murder of Kurt Cobain.
Amen.
So,
Great point. That's a great freaking point. Oh yeah, and you can see the lady in red rocking out behind him. Who doesn't remember the first time they heard "Smells Like Teen Spirit"? I remember it super clearly. I was trying out some new rollerblades on the basketball court at the school, elementary school, and my buddy came up to me and put headphones over my head and goes, "Dude, you got to listen to this." And it was just like, "Whoa, where did this come from?"
hell yeah.
So. If you guys watch me on Whatnot, you guys probably heard me rocking out to some old school Nirvana all the time. I'm so bummed because where Nirvana was heading, and they recorded that one album that they put out on their best of after years. I think Muddy Banks of the Waukesha or something like that. You could tell where they were heading was just groundbreaking, and they were heading where music was heading in general. And it was a real bummer not to see where they were going. But if you ever get a chance to watch me on Whatnot, you'll hear my favorite Nirvana song of all time is a song called Marigold with Kurt Cobain on drums and Dave Grohl on vocals.
Wow.
Yeah.
Never heard it.
So, yeah, really cool song. Check it out.
Cool.
All right, on to the list. Number 10 this week. Funny story about this. Battle Chasers number 1. Yeah. Now here's the book, you guys. I'm telling you, we talked about this book on Flipside on Monday in the series. There's a new TV series coming out, I believe, for Battle Chasers. I don't know if it's live action or if it's animation, but it is going to be a big deal for a lot of Joe Madureira fans, right? Joey Mad back in the day created Battle Chasers. There's a Frank Frazetta Fantasy Weekly magazine where there's a B cover for it that's all Battle Chasers. I think that's a preview, so be on the lookout for that. This book though is the another universe variant, the quote unquote Red Monica variant. Now, I'll be honest, I feel like this should have been a little bit higher on the list, but I'm okay because it's on the list. This book also has a gold variant. Let's see what we've been seeing on recent sales for this. Battle Chasers. I don't know if Battle Chasers have blown up, but let's take a look at the
All
variant.
I know is that they better stick with animation and not do the live action because after Cowboy Bebop just got canceled.
Yeah,
I think
I
that's
agree.
right. Spoken.
I agree. So we're seeing sales on it. Great book. There is a gold variant for it. There's 75, 139, 110, 209. I mean, great sales on this book. It's just been flying 9/8 for over 300, I assume. Those sets have been selling 150. I mean, this book has just been flying. So be on the lookout for that book. And again, there is a gold variant for it that's really, really tough to come by. But here's the funny thing about this book. So I put it on the thumbnail. I put just her on the thumbnail for Flipside number 200, right? Because that story broke. So I put it on there. We get a letter from YouTube saying, "Hey, we had to take down your thumbnail because you guys broke the nudity rules for YouTube. We don't think you realized you did it. We actually had somebody, go and take a look to see if you meant to do it, and we don't think you meant to do it. So we're not going to give you a nudity strike, but we took down the thumbnail. So as you can see, I had to kind of cover it up. So,
dude, that's crazy with all the stuff for all the anime stuff that we're always fucking putting up, and they got it after this. Come on now.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, Battle Chasers. I will go back to saying Battle Chasers is a beloved series. It was kind of like The Road with Joey Mad going into animation for video games. He's a big video game creator guy now, and he created a Battle Chasers video game. This Red Monica cover was on people's list as soon as it came out back in the day. I remember this being a big book back in the day.
And this is our first appearance in the Guts, right?
Yeah. Yep. So tough book. Be on the lookout for it. Again, there is a gold variant, some type of gold variant out there for this too. So I'm a huge Joey Mad fan, or was back in the day. Great stuff, and I love how it has the Battle Chasers on a tattoo on her butt cheek. So good stuff. All right, let's get into the next one. Number 9 this week is a Saga variant that
I couldn't believe this
this
showed
is
up again.
this is Saga number 1, the Turkish variant. So this is from our friends over at Parallel Irvin. I believe that's how you say it. Parallel Irvin. They are a Turkish comic company that put out some amazing books over the years. They put out the Virgin Darth Maul number 1 variant, which I absolutely love. This one is new, I believe. I think it's new. And let's see what CBSI writers write about it. They say, looking at eBay, you would laugh, though one copy did just sell over 200 yesterday. The fireworks are on Whatnot, where these sets were fetching 150 with ease when paired with the regular cover. Both are limited to just the 500. All right, so I guess there's a set of these that you could get where it has the regular number 1 and the RRP variant, and they're limited to 500. And sets were selling on Whatnot for, I guess, 150. He said you'd laugh at eBay, so I'm not going to look. But what I am going to look up, or let me just. All right, so there is a book out there. Here we go. That I absolutely love from Parallel Irvin that I think is even hotter this week, should be hotter this week than ever. And that is this amazing fantasy. Shout out to Parallel Irvin for making this book. This is that Turkish variant, and it's the Amazing Fantasy 15 variant with Miles and Gwen. We're going to get into this a little bit later, but Miles and Gwen books are on fire this week for good reason. Into the Spider-Verse 2. But this Parallel Irvin comic store over in Turkey has been doing great variants for a while, and this Saga one is great, but this one is amazing. So be on the lookout for this. I think this might be limited to 250. So really, really cool stuff on this one right here for the number 9 comic book shop, Parallel Irvin. I might be saying that wrong. I apologize, but Turkish comic shop who recently put out a Saga variant. So of course we all know Saga's super. And yeah, Brad Selden Esquire says they make books the wrong size. They do make their books a little bit smaller over there, as you guys could see, but they're still cool. So make sure you guys check them out. Let's get into number 8. All right, number 8 this week is a book I absolutely love. I love to see this book on any list. I'm a huge fan of Captain Britain, always have been. One of the characters that I, PC'd back in the day and would love just to find any books about. This is Marvel Team Up number 65, and the CBSI writers have this at number 8, say 10 or so copies of the A cover. Wait, hold on. It says 10 or so. Outer Limits, Burrow, Van Demby. I don't know. Maybe they have that wrong. So yeah. Anyways, this book is the first appearance of Captain Britain in the U.S. comics,
and also first cameo of Arcade too.
Yeah. Also, first cameo of Arcade. I'm gonna look up prices on it here real quick. While you guys, what do you guys think?
I've always liked this book. I don't own it. I missed the boat on this one, and have forgotten why, instead of buying the dip. But it's got a lot going on. It's got a cool cover. Back in game, there was a massive speculation around this and Namor about the underwater earthquake, and also the mention of the name Braddock. And that's what kind of made this book jump couple years ago, but I missed the dip, and I know there is Mark Jewelers insert variants for this book.
So it looks like a lot of people are selling the 2 books as one. You're getting the first appearance 65, which is the first appearance of Captain Britain in the U.S., and the cameo appearance of Arcade in 66, which is the second appearance of Captain Britain and the first appearance of Arcade. So you can get both books for around $66. It looks like, and in the 60s they're selling about both books for 60 to 50. So we did hear some pretty substantial news that maybe Henry Cavill is going to play Brian Braddock. He said that he can't wait to play the character in an interview. I don't know if it was a Freudian slip or like he really loves the character, but I would love to see Henry Cavill in that suit, as that character, whether it's, with the Black Knight and Blade in a MI13 style series, or anything. Of course, they want to bring Excalibur and what's Black Knight's sword called Ebony Blade.
Ebony
They want to
Blade.
bring those two blades together, and I would love to see Captain Britain. But the book that I love so much for Captain Britain, of course,
Britain
is
1.
the beautiful Captain. What's going on here?
And Brian, these characters are relatively inexpensive to speculate on this late in the game.
Yeah, $60, $30. You could get that first book, but I love this book right here, the Captain Britain 1 UK magazine, which is his first appearance in his new costume, which is the costume that I loved as a kid. I freaking love that costume. This is a tough book to find in high grade because of the white, and it's a UK magazine. Of course, Alan Moore. This is when Alan Moore was part of the writing process. If you guys don't know, Alan Moore did write a bunch of Captain Britain books. The other books that you want to be on the lookout for, of course, are the beautiful issue number 1, which is so hard to find. It came with a mask. Usually the mask has fallen out because of either it's been taken out or just old age. Yeah, but just a beautiful UK newsstand print, so hard to find in high grade. Of course, the first appearance of Psylocke's alter ego,
Betsy Braddock.
Betsy Braddock, before she becomes the ninja, is in issue number 8. But issues number 1, 2, and a few others have these little inserts. There's a boomerang, there's a mask, there's a plane. So be on the lookout for those.
I wonder if CGC keeps those inserts with them. Because sometimes there's like weird stuff and they just take it out and they just say
probably.
Yes.
And like, oh,
this is the one that I search for the most, because this is the first time Alan Moore started writing Captain Britain, I believe, either this issue or the one before it. Nice. Very, very tough book to come by. And then, of course, this one's a really good one where Betsy Braddock puts on the Captain Britain suit and becomes Captain Britain. So be on the lookout for all these. These are going to just really blow up if the news is true, that we're going to see Brian Braddock in the MCU. This stuff is just going to go through the roof. And there's a lot of big fans of the series back in the day. So,
I, as a reader that's been keeping an eye out on stuff for the last like 2 or 3 years, for Cavill to jump in and potentially going in there and cocking up freaking Captain Britain, I don't care about that. I do care. Richie, you mentioned Arcade. Arcade has been all over the place. And when certain characters have been all over the place, like Arcade has, I start to perk my ears up, because it's that pattern. Just like right before, like Taskmaster's been showing up all over the place. Now he's there. So they might have something in mind for Arcade, because he's been showing up in Spider-Man books, on the Edge, or some of the X-Men books. But he's just been all over the place. So I definitely like this book. And that's the first Arcade.
I could see him being in an animated type thing, like a villain for Into the Spider-Verse 2 or something.
I know it's cheesy. Awesome. I know it's cheesy and it's a comic cliche, I guess you could say, but Lucas just explained. Got to read the tea leaves,
Amen. So cool stuff. That is number 8 by the CBS writers this week. Let's get on to number 7 this week. CBSI writers put in this Star Wars Shadows of the Empire number 1. Let me see what they write about it. They write, first Prince Shizor. There is some debate whether to include this book here. In the last 4 days, over a dozen copies have moved, and they have moved in $20 to $40 range. All of this because of a name drop in Crimson Reign. Personally, I like it. I like the book. The character being canon is something to pay attention to if you're a Star Wars fan. So that's from the CBSI writer, says that they like it and it's something to pay attention to. Now, I got to give a quick shout out. I love Prince Shizor. I love Shadows of the Empire. It was one of the first Star Wars novels that I remember reading as a kid, and I fell in love with it and just really, really thought it was amazing. Great story that takes place in between Empire and Return of the Jedi. It's got new characters. There's no Han Solo. He's in Carbonite. It's got Dash Rendar. The Shizor is like a Vader-esque tons of bounty hunter stuff, right? And this comic series has tons of bounty hunters. It's got first appearances of a ton of bounty hunters. But Prince Shizor is that character you see on the left, back to back with Vader there. He is part of the Falleen, F-A-L-E-E-N race of beings that can like put out this pheromone that causes people to fall in love with him and do what they say. Really, really creepy character. But there's a lot of other really cool characters in the series. And this is his first appearance in comics. And the shout out, real quick, there are a couple shout outs I want to give about this. First, I want to shout out Peter Renna and the boys over at Tales from the Dark Side show. Over on Renavision, they did a really cool show Sunday night that I was watching, where they talked about Shizor and whether are we gonna see him show up in the Disney Plus stuff. And it was just really, really cool to hear them talking about it. They also talked about his brother, second in command. I forget his name. That's about ready to become a Uti or something like that. They did a really good job of talking about the characters that, we could see. What are the chances you're going to see him? So again, I got to give a shout out to those guys. Great job. All of you guys that are over there working on the Dark Side show. Keep it up. Also, we talked about that last week. We talked about that all black cover that was found in Walmart packs, which turned out, just want to let everybody know, it turned out to be, from what I can tell, just exclusives, where they took the exclusive cover off and just put it in the packs, right? Because they couldn't sell exclusives. So they were just ripping the exclusive cover off of wherever place and putting them in the Walmart
Scandalous.
packs. Well, that came from a couple people, but I read about it on Drunk Wookie's site, which is a new site to me. And he's been, from what I can tell, this is my first time really checking out a site in depth, but he talked about this Crimson Reign #1, and this is where all this is going to. And this is a really good site so far of how they set it up. He shows like, okay, these are the scenes in Crimson Reign #1 and who we might see as a first appearance and all this stuff. And he shows where they call out Prince Shizor in it. As you can see, this is the one of the lords of the Black Sun, which is like the second in command to Shizor, Uti, or I forget his name, something like that. Guti, Gyuiti is how you say it. And he basically gets told by the new Crimson Reign character, pass it along to Prince Shizor with compliments from the Crimson Dawn. And there you go. So this character is starting to get some love because of what we're seeing in that Crimson Reign #1. So be on the lookout for Prince Shizor stuff. Cool character. I hope we see him in the MCU. And I love Shadows of the Empire series. So yeah, there we go. I don't know. Let me get going here. A lot of people are talking about Dash Rendar. Great character.
First cover appearance.
Yep, this is his first cover appearance, exactly. So be on the lookout for that stuff.
Real quick, we got Lucas on, and he's a retailer as well. I want to ask him. So apparently, the Dark Horse Comics is going to be taking the IDW Star Wars properties. Do you know when that starts?
Nope, I do not. It hasn't started to show up in any of the catalogs yet or any previews yet. But who knows when that's happening, because Diamond has actually been all types of screwed up this weekend. I've had several new customers that have tried to get into it, and they just haven't been able to. So maybe they're making an adjustment right now. Maybe we'll start to see it on the retailer side at the end of the year or at the beginning of next year. But so far, I haven't seen those adjustments yet. Or I know Dennis Barger from Wonder World. He's sneaking around. He might be out there. He might be able to tell me if he's starting to see anything, but I have not seen any in any of the catalogs yet. But I do know that is a fact, and that's what's supposed to be happening.
Cool.
Real quick, 201 live. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Wow. I appreciate every one of you that are watching and part of this community. I see a ton of people that I just want to say thank you for commenting and watching live. We appreciate you guys. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button. It really helps us out.
A lot of love for the Star Wars stuff, huh? Are those? Do you know if those guys are planning on doing a end of the year Star Wars thing, man? Because there's been a lot of developments in the Star Wars world, man. I think somebody needs to just do a rundown.
Yeah, well, I think you just need to keep an eye on the Dark Side show. All right, into number 6, the next book this week on the CBSI Hot 10, written by the writers this week. Our friendly neighborhood Hot 10 writer Ben Steiniger is just living it up in Orlando. Shout out to those him and Drew from Wanted Comics, who are just having a lot of fun. They both happen to go to Orlando for vacation at the same time. Yeah, what a lucky thing that is, huh? But talking about Into the Spider-Verse 2 just being such a big deal this week, we've been seeing all the books move, the Spot stuff, the 2099 stuff, the Spider-Gwen stuff. Spider-Man India was shown in that, and he's gonna be a big part of Into the Spider-Verse 2, and this character is already big. Matter of fact, this book has been a much beloved book in our community, speculator community, for a long time. And let's see what the writers have to say about their number 6 pick. So here we go. Number 6, Spider-Man India. There are a bunch of sales this week. Prices have gone from 50 to 85-ish, say Peter Renna. So they put okay. So Peter Renna said that, and then Topher, shout out to Topher. Topher says, if we mention Spidey India, can we at least make sure to note that his first appearance was not a U.S. comic? And I'm glad he said that, because one of our original almost 10 books today was that book. And if you guys don't know, this Spider-Man India #1 is the U.S. Marvel book that also had a weird variant to it that came with a poster. They call this the variant to it, and this cover is very, very similar to the book that came out in India right here. This is shout out to all the foreign collectors out there. Spider-Man India #1. This is the one from India that actually came out. I believe it came out before the U.S. version. So be on the lookout for those 2 books. Really, really cool foreign books. Second couple foreign, I think the third or fourth foreign books that we've talked about tonight. So foreign market really getting some love.
Yes, sir. So, when you asked if I wanted to come on, and then I took a peek at the list, and I was like, "Oh crap, man!" When I saw this book, I was like, "Man, Brian must know what he's doing by asking me on this, man." Because once again, months ago, right around the time when the whole Black Widow and Disney fight was going on, I forget the name of the CEO that does the big. He says he mentioned, he's like, everybody was waiting on him to talk about Black Widow. He was like, "No, I'm not talking about Black Widow, but I will talk about Disney South America and Disney India." Right, and the fact that they were going to put a lot of investment into putting and going after more subscribers in India. And then on the Drunken Chat show, we actually said, "Hey, you know what? If that's going to happen, they're going to have to start implementing and bringing in more characters." And we actually did a poll that night, I believe, of like which characters the people think were going to be the first ones that were, and this one was one of the most popular ones that out there. I have never seen this in any of the Marvel comic books before, but here he is. So just remember, this is not just going to be dependent on whatever happens in Spider Edge of the Spider Multiverse. Got to remember, there are 1.78 million people in India, right? About 35 to 40% of those people have some type of version of what Hulu and Disney are putting out right now. So when they unleash their version of Disney Plus on India, they're going to want an Indian character that's going to be there, and this is going to be one of the first ones that's going to be coming down the pipe. So I love the fact that they put this in there.
Yeah, here are some of the recent sales on just Spider-Man. It's going to start showing me non-comic stuff, so let's make sure I hit comics and graphic novels. Here's some of the recent sales on Spider-Man India stuff, so you guys can
So
see.
if y'all got any cousins over there in India, tell them to look out for that one book, man.
Yeah, I don't even see any of those yet. They're very rare to come up with. I think I've only seen a couple of the variants for the Spider-Man India Marvel one, which show that original cover, and those are even hard to find, and they're very hard to find in high
Y'all gonna
grade.
have to let me know if there's any bags and boards
Yeah.
over there, man. Shit.
Look at that. I mean, it's just crazy.
What about
none of the variants?
Lucas? What about Marvel Mangaverse Spider-Man? Is that
Which ones? There's several.
Well, the specific issue,
There's-
Marvel Mangaverse Spider-Man issue 1, it's like a $10 to $20 book. I mean, is that a smart spec, you think?
At this point, I think it's all of it's a good spec right now. Um, n- but the focus right now, according to CEO, I think is it Bob Chapek or whatever.
Mhm.
He said specifically India is a focus right now. South
Okay.
America is a focus. Africa is going to be next. That's probably going to be 3 to 4 years down the line once they can get the animators and writers like on their feet and everything right now. But this is definitely going to be a focus, and this makes a lot of sense.
The reason
Yeah.
why I ask is because I don't know if it's confirmed, but everybody's saying that Japanese Spider-Man, which is SpiderMan, and his robot Leopoldin is going to be into the Spider-Verse too.
Hmm.
That being Japanese in Asia, so naturally I went over
Well,
and thought, okay, mangaverse, Marvel mangaverse,
we
Spider-Man
do
1.
know who there is a character that we do know that's going to be in there that is very similar to that, and that is that
That
uh,
girl, right? The
Ann
girl with the
Parker, May Parker, the Spider Verse 5 character, right?
right. Yeah,
The
she was in
tech,
the first one, so I forget what her name
the
was, but
mech,
yeah, she
yeah, Spider Mech
right.
or whatever. Yeah, so it could be that Spider Mech character, Richie, or something to do with that. Yeah, good stuff. All right, Penny Parker, thanks. H and H Comics, appreciate that. Yeah, Penny Parker is going to be a very big character. All right, let's get into number 5 this week, you guys, from the CBS writers. I want to say thanks again to the CBSI writers for filling this week for Ben Stein doing the list. Let's
They're
get
doing an
into their
excellent
choice
job so
for
far.
let's get into their choice to number 5. Animal Castle this week at number 5, which I'll be honest, this book could have been number 1 with a bullet, in my opinion. This book has been crazy. I know it was on the list last week, but I could have put this book easily at number 1 with a freaking bullet.
Totally
I've been
agree.
hearing nothing but good things about this. The sales have been crazy. Let's see what the CBSI writers say. It says here, fetching $20 still on a cover, and the 1 in 10 and 1 in 20. I think that's 1 in 30, right? No, wait. 1 in 20 Virgin covers are strong at 30-ish and 50-ish. If you're following Andy Tomberlin in his Indie Spotlight series, you are probably sitting on some of these. Make sure to thank Andy in the comments. What I will say about this is shout out to Mighty Mel V and Drunken Chat Son, you included, Lucas, who put a big spotlight on this book for me, and especially one book in general, and that is this 1 in 30 variant that was instantly out the gate, 3 times ratio, getting $90 on the secondary market, over $100 sales. That immediately following release, this book was a ghost. People were just scooping them up.
Right.
Craziness.
Yeah. So I panned this book because I had actually read this book and some of the and I didn't like the necessarily the art, and the art was fine, but what got me was it was very derivative of the Animal Farm and what's the Stray Dogs and everything. And I was like, it
Yes,
wants to
Stray
be that,
Dogs.
but I don't know if it's going to be. It's not cute enough. But
Mhm.
I guess everybody proved me wrong. They're like, oh yeah, they're all over the place. What I don't like is that 1 to 30 cover. I thought that the 1 to 10 cover would have been better as the 1 to 30. And I think down the line maybe the tide will turn and that 1 to 10 will be a better spec on that one. But hey, people like what they like. If they like that 1 to 30 and they want to spend
The
that money on it,
the
go ahead.
foil. Ooh, that foil.
Yeah, I think you're.
Where did the foil come from?
I don't know,
Jesus.
but I want one. This is a pre-order. They haven't come out yet, so pre-order they're selling for $100.
I think you're right, Lucas. And then for me, shout out to my boys at Comic Coin and Sniff Comics who turned me on to the Animal Castle 1 in 30 sketch by Felix Dillip. But I don't think that is my favorite. I think Lucas is right. I think the 1 in 10 is the best cover.
This
But
one
I
right here, the
do,
variant, the Virgin variant.
yeah. But
I
I
like how
do
it's
like
because
the
it's
1 in
more
30.
offset. It's like you see more of the room with the 1 in 10.
Well, I like the 1 in 30 because it's cons are still going on and there's just a lot you can do with that. So.
Yeah, really cool book. So be on the lookout for Animal Castle. I also want to shout out again. We talked about it, and they talked about it in the write up. Andy Tomberlin, Indie Spotlight, one of the best people in our community, one of the most informative when it comes to indie books, and just an all around great person. Shout out to Andy Tomberlin.
So we got issues of saying that FYI, Animal Castle was released in 2018.
In Germany. So this is for anybody to know. I
Wow.
didn't want to really drop this, but since we're dropping free cornbread, you guys, I want to know if there's any listeners out there in Germany, which I know we have a couple. Let us know about this book, how they put it out there. The foreign guys should have been all over this a long time ago, but maybe it just flew under the radar. So this is a book that was put out years ago. A Blaze went and flipped on it and jumped on it, and they put it out. So France actually, shout out to JJ.
Double
I thought it was
J's.
Right. It
Germany,
was
but
called La Chateau de Animaux Tome.
yep, there you go. So I want to know about those. Let's hear about them. Maybe you guys can hit us up and we'll talk about them on Saturday tomorrow night. We're going to be doing Modern Comic Mayhem. If there's anybody out there that has any information, I would love to throw it up on Modern Comic Mayhem tomorrow night. Get in touch with us. So France and Tool volumes. There we go. So Animal Castle, really, really cool stuff. Love the Great Danes and the Dobermans. Cool. Very cool.
Shout out to Keep It Thorough Comics. Good to see
Amen.
you, brother.
Yeah, 233 live right now, you guys. Much love to everybody that's chatting and joining us live. All right, let's get into number 4 this week. Contest of Champions number 1 back on the list. I think this was on the list either last week or the week before, or the almost 10, one of the two. CBSI writers are saying getting up to $35 mark recently. Forget the variant, which has left the atmosphere and is pushing the price of the regular cover higher and higher. White Fox, I get it, but not at these prices. Now, it doesn't say who wrote that, but yeah, whoever wrote that is right. There are a ton of variants for this book. If you remember, we talked about it last week. We showed the cool 8-bit style one. Of course,
That's
the White Fox books.
25.
Yeah, you know,
The
and
Ron
I
Len
love
connecting.
the Maestro action figure variant, but the White Fox books are just crazy right now. So, but who's this character? Is this Phi Lavelle right here?
I'm not
Can't
Looks
remember
like
who
it.
that is. So,
It
but
looks
yeah,
like it.
so be on the lookout for all the variants for this book, including the blank. I like the blank. It could be something cool.
There's some I guess you could say mixed up information out there about the White Fox speculation. So a lot of people believe in the Tiger Division. Tiger Division is White Fox, Taijuki, which first appearance was in Taskmaster 3. I think with
Swordmaster.
Swordmasters, a
Yep,
few other.
Swordmaster. Yeah.
And the first appearance is not in Taskmaster 3 of that team appearance. The first appearance of that book is in the Black Cat Annual Issue 1 Infinity Destines book. And you specifically want to look for the second print. That one is a $1 book. It's got them all on the cover. It's a sick cover. It's a low print run. That's one you want to look at.
But where are they going to put them at? Because, see, my problem is Shang-Chi would have been the best place to put any of that stuff, whether it be the New Ages of Atlas or if they wanted to do this Target Division stuff, and they didn't put any inklings, no Easter eggs, no Sunday eggs, none of that. They didn't put none of that in there. So it's tough. And it was I mean, they put more Hulk stuff in there than any actual Asian market stuff. So
That's true. That's true. But on the other hand, I think, well, this is speculation. I actually have no idea. But if it was my guess, I honestly think they were kind of just testing the market to see if something like this would work. It worked. They confirmed issue number 2. Who is linked to Shang-Chi that a lot of people are speculating and investing on in the comics? Iron Fist. Who's about to become Iron Fist? Swordmaster. Okay. So, part 2 could be that episode that Lucas is waiting for with the introduction of these characters. Plus, White Fox has been around for 5-6 years, but these other characters have been around for 18 months to 2 years. So interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's very interesting, and keep your eye on that series, that character. Keep your eye open. All right, let's get into the rest. The last 3 on the list this week, you guys. Number 3 this week, SpiderMan number 12 from 2016. Um, hold on here.
Yep. That's
Uh,
straight Mel V.
this is
Freaking
the
Hornell
it says
pick.
Mexico on this. I don't know why. I have the wrong book here. I apologize, you guys. But this is the quote unquote the Mexico version. It says here, I think, but I think I have the wrong one. Does the right one have? It doesn't say Mexico in the Marvel, so I
No, you got the
apologize for
right
the
one,
picture.
doesn't it? Does it say Mexico on there?
Is
Oh
it
No,
yeah,
on?
it
I
does
don't
say
see.
Yeah, yeah.
Mexico.
It says
Ah, okay.
Mexico right here, but it
There's the
looks
right.
just like it. So I apologize, you guys. But the regular book is the book you want to be on the lookout for. Number 12. Now, me and Richie and the guys on Saturday talked about these Spider Gwen Miles books, and you know, this is a great book, and I think this book could have been number one on the list too. If
Mhm.
Animal Castle wasn't on this list and the other books weren't on this list this week, this book would be a number one with a bullet, I think. But I love this book absolutely as a regular cover, a cover. Great book, great cover. All even without the news and the movie and the trailer, great. The Isanov 1 in 25 all black is great. The Dave Johnson 1 in 50 is
for
great.
for Spider Gwen 16.
Yeah, so be on the lookout for all the Miles Gwen books, and I love this cover. I again, this book, boom, could have been number one on any other week. Just a great cover. Shout out to all you guys that have been picking these up over the months and the year. This is just such a great cover.
So I love the cover. I love the art on it. But you know me, I'm gonna go after it just like I went after Son of Kale. Uh, or yeah, Son of Kal-El, right? It's the interior that's garbage, right? And after this, it just went away, right? No
Yeah,
romance.
have they ever brought in this relationship back, or do they?
Nope,
Well, there was a
nope.
wedding
No,
issue, I think, wasn't
was
there?
there a wedding issue?
I
It's very
thought
No,
interesting. Well, they're definitely going to be showing it on. I hope to God they're showing it on the big screen because one of the coolest things in that whole trailer. That trailer had so many cool moments. But that moment where Spider Gwen is chilling in his room and she falls out the window and he goes and looks at her and she's standing sideways, on it just looking at him was such a cool scene and such a cool transition to outside that window. It was just perfect. I love the relationship of these two. I think it just fits perfectly. Um, yeah, that's a bummer. I hope they continue this relationship
CBR
in the comics.
reported about an hour after that trailer dropped that they had confirmed source that said that Into the Spider-Verse 2 going to specifically focus on the relationship between Miles and Spider-Gwen.
Hell yeah.
And so I think that's what kind of kicked this book up. I wrote about this book before it popped on my IG about 2 years ago before I was in Flipside, and Brian reached out to me a few weeks later. It's kind of how I met him, and I ended up being on Flipside a few weeks later. This book did really well. I'm not trying to toot my own horn or whatever. Mel brought it up again recently, a few weeks or a few days or a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and then we brought it up on Modern Comic Mayhem with no intentions. And then all of a sudden that trailer dropped and that CBR report came out, and I was like, wow, taken back. So I there's 48,000 of these books. There's a lot of them out there. Just be careful in the sense, listen to Brian. Go, keep your eye out. Save a few bucks for that 1 in 25, Rich Isanova, and then if you miss out on those, Brian had a really good pick, and that's the Spider Gwen issue 16, 1 in 50, Dave Johnson. That is a beautiful cover. Keep your eye out for that book.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Man, I really am looking forward to Into the Spider-Verse. It's so weird how geeked I am for that than and the other stuff I'm not as geeked for. I love that trailer. I love the new animation. I love the story. And here's the funny thing. You remember when Edge of Spider-Verse was coming out, we were all kind of like, this is silly. And now we just freaking love those characters. Again, good writing can make any story pop. Just good writing, good characters, great creators, good stuff.
you know what my story would have been. So look, let this little thing happen, but right around the corner comes Peter Parker. Peter
Yeah.
Parker is still in love with Spider Gwen because Spider Gwen was the love of his life. How pissed off and enraged would he be if he saw this just popping off?
Well, remember Spider-Man issue 1 and issue 2 of the first series. That's the first battle between Miles and Peter. There you go.
Yeah.
Fighting over a
Wow.
girl.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a
Yeah.
lose-lose. Don't do it.
Yeah, Cover Lover says no one expected the feels that trailer would bring. Well played, Sony. Amen. You can at least give Sony the thumbs up for that one. Like they didn't fuck up Into the Spider-Verse.
And
So
then Keep It Thorough brings up a good point. He's investing in Starling Vulture's first appearance, which is Miles Morales issue. What is it? It's issue 6, and her cameos in issue 5, 6.
isn't there a good second printing with her on the cover?
Well, she's on the cover of cover A, I think, and
Okay.
then there's a Battle Lines Virgin variant with Mysterio. It's a really sick cover of Mysterio, but then there's that second print Brian's talking about. It's actually really hard to find.
As a matter of fact, I think I might have one of those coming up in a Whatnot sale this Saturday. Oh,
Lucas, you're reading Miles Morales. Oh, you are? Oh, nice. Lucas, you're
yeah.
reading Miles Morales right now, Spider-Man. So is Miles now dating Starling Vulture, or are they just team up?
You're talking about. Well, I think you kind of were going in and out for me. So you're
Oh,
talking
that's my
about
mic.
you're talking about teaming up with Starling.
Yeah, is he actually dating her
No,
right now?
he's just trying to hit the skins on that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's just straight up trying to hit the skins. There's a back and forth in between like her father and the grandfather and all that other stuff. It's a little weird with all the little teen romances that are happening right now. So for instance, Peter Parker's roommate is dating the like one of the villains or something like that, and there's a whole thing about the dads not liking each other. Then there's the Miles Morales thing with the Starling thing, and they're trying to make a thing like, oh man, he's too busy to have a romance, but no, the only time they can meet up is on a freaking rooftop. And it's like, hey, it's bad because you can tell that the writers are already bored with trying to make it happen.
So I am going to say this. I'm going to say this movie is going to be big for a lot of characters, and part 2 is going to be big for a lot of characters. We're going to see a ton of these Spider-Verse characters. Be on the lookout for Miles and Gwen, obviously. Be on the lookout for Penny Parker. Be on the lookout for Spot. Be on the lookout for 2099. Be on the lookout for Spider-Man India. Be on the lookout for Spider-Punk. Be on the lookout for all of those characters because they're coming. I'm telling you, like that, they're opening up this Spider-Verse, and the characters that we kind of loved in that comic, they're going to put in that movie because we loved them. So just be on the lookout. All right. Book number 2 this week on the CBSI Hot 10. Captain Marvel number 17, the first Phyla-Vell. This is what the CBSI writers say. I know 16 is strong, but 17 is crushing it with $80 for a very fine plus and a record earlier today of $150 just for 17 alone, which is what the pair was fetching earlier this week. So I love Phyla-Vell. I love this series. I love this series. I love the series. Was it after it that was the dude with the star face?
She's wearing the black costume in here, right? Or is this she's already on the red, white, and blue?
She's on the red, white, and blue on that.
Because I remember that. Was this 2002?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. There's a newsstand of this that I missed out on.
Yeah. All right, let me bring up the sales here on this one. So he mentions 17 also. There's the book 225 for the boss. That's crazy. That's
wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. 149 best offer, 65. Love this character. Love him in the second series or the series following this. I was always a Captain Marvel fan, especially with the Janice Vell character. Janice Vell. I love the Janice Vell character. So yeah, man, that's crazy that these books were selling for that much for the pair. This book was her first cameo, I guess they're calling it, first full 55 alone for that. Wow, that's crazy. So there you go. Characters still moving. We've seen Phyla-Vell on the list now for a couple of months. It's been showing up here and there. So not the greatest of covers in my opinion. I know some people like this one. I'm not a fan of it. I love the rest of the stuff. I love the Janice Vell and the green original Captain Marvel suit. Yeah, that character's cool.
Brian, remember you brought up the Annihilation, the first Annihilation limited series? how awesome those, I think it was Delato covers or
Yep.
something. Well, I believe it's in issue 6. Phyla-Vell actually refers to herself as Quasar in that book also. That's an interesting one. And Brian brought it up a few weeks ago just to add. So, and then also she's also Phyla-Vell's also became a part of Guardians of the Galaxy in the recent Guardians of the Galaxy 1 from 2019 with Donny Cates writing it.
Yeah.
Cool
So
character.
yeah, the Annihilation run was great. You got some really great Delato covers on the Silver Surfer stuff. When she becomes Quasar in that run, it's really good. There's some really great covers on that. Here's that cover right here. Annihilation Conquest Quasar, great series where she becomes Quasar. Phyla-Vell does. Of course, the regular run, this Nova run, these Adi Granov covers are great in the Nova series. The title, and here's another great. This is a beautiful cover right here.
That's the one I was talking about. Exactly.
Yeah, just love this book, man. Like, look, these covers were so good at the time. This is where we first kind of saw Delato just really shine. There was even some Matina, I think, covers, maybe. I know there was the Granov covers. Oh man, just really good stuff.
That's amazing,
So,
Delato.
yeah, be on the
Where's that
lookout for the
Matina?
Annihilation. Here's the other Annihilation book where she becomes Quasar. It's selling it's the Annihilation Conquest prologue. You can see her there. Yeah, the Silver Surfer series is just beautiful. They also did a Ronin. I think there's a Ronin series, so be on the lookout for those. There's the Nova series. It was just such a great run. It also brought us the Wraith series that Lucas, you're really familiar with. Love the Wraith stuff. Still,
Brian,
still
look up
selling
this
it.
one. Pull up this one. Cherish. Look, it's called Infinity Countdown number 4, second print.
Okay.
It's got shout out to my boy Thoro. Also, the Lifebringer Galactus that we were all speculating on a year or two ago. Second print cover with a small Silver Surfer. That right there is your first appearance of this character Phyla-Vell as Captain Marvel.
This one right here?
Yes.
Wow, yeah. There we go.
It saw a little bump recently, so
that's a tough looks like a tough book to find. I love the Lifebringer Galactus. Always love that character, man. Great cover.
That's crazy.
Great cover.
Mm.
Cool stuff. Always loved Galactus, one of my all-time favorite characters. Love the cosmic world. Obviously you guys hear me talk about my love for Captain Marvel, even the Genis Vell stuff. My love for the Silver Surfer. Just the cosmic stuff is coming in a big way. So be on the lookout for that stuff. Very cool stuff. All right. Let's get into the number one book this week. Number one book that the CBSI writers have put this week is Crimson Reign #1, the 1 in 50 variant. They write, maybe this should be lower on the list, but I'm a Star Wars nut, and this is the hottest incentive to drop for Star Wars since Sway 1 in 25 for HR1. Lots of sales in the $65 to $95 range in the last few days is a great sign for Star Wars fans, as this ratio seems to have staying power. So Crimson Reign is the new series that's coming out. We talked about it a little bit earlier with the Shizor stuff. That's where we got the first name of Shizor. And the Crimson, let's take a look at some of the Crimson Reign sales. As you can see, here's a signed 1 in 50, went for 80, 69. This is crazy to me, you guys. I saw this earlier. Somebody bought a Star Wars Invasion Zero Diamond Retailer exclusive 1 in 1,000 for $25. Stole it from all of you. This is that Yuzan Vong issue. By the way, you guys, because this is this is one of the toughest Star Wars variants you will ever find. It's given out. It's got I love the crate, Darth Crate-esque Yuzan Vong like headgear stuff. But the Yuzan Vong, if you guys don't know, is a major race in the Star Wars universe. And this book is so tough to find. The original has a green cover instead of white. One of the somebody stole it for $25. Anyways, let me get back to the original stuff. Crimson Reign. Did I have Crimson Reign? Crimson Reign #1, the 1 in 50 is, and who's the 1 in 50? Is it let me go back to it here. The 1 in 50 is, let me see here, Cummings. It's a Cummings variant. So Crimson Reign by the artist Cummings is #1. It has the new characters. Looks like Afra on the cover there. You see a couple of new characters. Let me go back here. I don't know. What do you guys think about this?
I mean, it's a cool variant. I mean, honestly, I don't really care for the art. I'm surprised it was a 1 in 50. To be honest with you, it looks like an open order cover. But that's just
Yes, it
my
does.
opinion.
Let's
Like,
take a look
so,
at some of the sales here
right.
real quick.
So for instance, that Raza cover that should have been
Mhm.
1 to 50. Like, I don't know if you've seen that one.
Yes.
It's $100, 84.
Really?
These are all buy it nows.
Okay, so that's not too bad. It's
Yeah.
not. So
Here's
yeah. So
here's my only problem with this, and we've talked about it before. It's selling for a lot of money, but how many exclusive variants do you think there are for Crimson Reign #1?
were there
Do
any?
you, I know of at least one. I know
So
there's
that
got to
means
be
that.
multiple.
So that means there's probably somebody sitting on at least freaking 100 of them bitches right now.
Yeah,
Because I don't know, man.
it's
So
listen,
so what was the highest price on that so far?
$100 is what I
100
saw
bucks.
was the
Okay.
highest.
So the cost to the store was right around $100, right? Because you gotta buy 50 of those, and each one of those is going to cost you about $2, right? If you're doing an exclusive, it's going to cost you about a little bit more, 4 or 5, plus the commission to the artist and everything. So now, if you're selling it if each store is selling for $100, they're still not even making their money back on it yet. So it's good to see it meet at least ratio, but it's still not impressive to me yet.
Right. I mean, you got what 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 first full appearances in here. I just think cover A is the U cover is the best cover, and then that Raza that Lucas was
Let me
talking
take a look
about.
at the other covers real quick here. I'm gonna take a look. Crimson.
Yeah, the regular cover I don't think is doing anything. There's an open. It looks like there's an open order cover.
All right, so here we go. So League of Comic Geeks is where I usually go to. I love them for pictures, and comics.org or League of Comic Geeks. Here's Crimson Reign #1. There's tons of variants. I don't know how many of them there are, but that's a cool one. That one's really cool. Whatever that
really
is.
cool.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
Raza. That one's dope. Knights of
Yeah.
Ren. Love the Knights of Ren. Think the Knights of Ren are such a cool character. So I know that isn't there's a new Knights of Ren character in there. Is she a female Knights of Ren? Star Wars guys, let me know.
Well, you got
and I don't think there's any. Is there any first appearances in this?
Yeah, there's 4 or 5 full appearances. Plus on the 1 in 50, what I do like about it is what's that character Nightstick?
Yeah.
I believe she's on the cover too, which is
Yep.
very important. That character's got, it's like a snowball effect. That thing's got legs.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that is what the writers have this week at #1. There it is a 1 in 50. Be on the lookout for the 1 in 50. It looks like it has all the characters on the cover. Hopefully, most of these are the new characters. That one guy in the chair almost looks like a Rob Liefeld character. But there's that little Dr. Aphra, Luke, Leia. Obviously, they're not new, so there could be 1, 2, 3, 4 new characters on the cover. How many new characters are there on the cover of the 1 in 50?
Well, let's see here. Looking at it, there's her, the main one right there. Is she the one in the middle right there? Short hair.
Yeah.
Nightstick. She's already had a first back in.
It's those 4 on the right side, right? The 4 on the right.
The characters are Amara Vex, Bright, Seer, Miranda, and the Archivist, and then there's members of Orphans in the guts. But most of the characters on the cover we're already familiar with. The only one I believe is that one in the middle, and then that one that you were talking about.
Yeah, the Knights of Ren were such a cool thing. When we first saw the Knights of Ren, when they first showed them, I was like, oh my God, they're so badass, And then they kind of just got taken out in that third movie, which is kind of cheesy. But
sorry, Star Wars fans. I'm not familiar with Star Wars. I'm trying.
Is that a question from Sam Richardson? He says, hey, does a character in the sky count as a new character as a first appearance, Rich?
That's Sam from Modern Comic Man.
So I take it to be 2 different characters.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's your actual without costume right? And then there's the costume character, which any other person can freaking put on the freaking costume and become that costume. Um, so, for instance, in Batman '89, there's a new character. There's a new Robin out there, right?
Mhm.
He has showed up um, as Robin in that first issue, and then in the second issue, he shows up as just the regular dude. And it wasn't until the last one that came out this week, Batman '89 #4, where he shows up as both, and they're trying to make the connection. But I think it's still going to be not until the fifth one that there's going to be an actual full of both of them, and where they explain like what's going on with that. So
I
it's
want
two
to take
different
a look.
characters.
I'm gonna take a look at just Crimson Reign and see how if we got any movement on any of the regular issues too. If the 1 in 50 is moving, we should see some other issues. Here, let me go here.
What's that one character I was just talking about? Deathstick. Your first was, I think, was in the Darth Vader.
So the 1 to
The Raza
25.
you can
That's
get for cheap still, so be on the lookout for the Raza.
oh yeah. I
This
mean, there's
is
going to be a
Tyler
shitload of those
Kirkham.
out
So
there.
there's a Tyler Kirkham exclusive. We know that. Here's the Cummings. There is a 616 has exclusives. Fam Syndicate. I don't know what that is. There's the so I don't know, you guys. My thing is there are a lot of first appearances in it. It might be something to grab, and maybe that's what is pushing this one.
Star Wars Darth Vader 18 is your first team of the additional Crimson Dawn members. I don't know if that's related to this, but it sounds like it.
If they ever do a Rogue One Part 2, this will be something that'll
Here's
be
a
interesting if they
pre-order.
bring that up.
Yeah.
Not Rogue One Part 2. No, Solo Part 2. That's what I'm thinking of. Solo Part 2.
Yeah. Well, like I said, there is. I want to give a shout out again to the Dark Side Show. Make sure to check them out. I'm sure they'll be talking about Crimson Reign pretty heavily. That's on Renovision. Make sure to check them out. Also, thank you to everybody that has joined us tonight. 218 live till the end. Much love to you. You guys can follow us directly over to It's Drunken Chat tonight. What do you guys got? Anything coming up later on this week?
This is the last week of fantasy football, and then the playoffs start in fantasy football next week for the next 3 weeks. 12 teams, knock on wood, and possibly I'll go 12 for 12 for playoffs. So wish me luck.
I want to also say, hey, you guys, tomorrow night, Modern Comic Mayhem. Make sure to check it out. Shout out to the other co-hosts on there, Richie, Sam, Richardson, Ish. Kyle won't be there this week. Kyle is taking the vacation route, just like Stein and Drew at Wanted Comics. Kyle's taking his old lady to Laughlin, so he'll be having fun there. So we're going to have a lot of fun on Modern Comic Mayhem, just to chill out. So make sure to check us out there. I will be on Whatnot tomorrow, selling a ton of crazy modern variants and keys. We'll be doing that probably around like 3 p.m. Eastern-ish. And then, of course, Star Wars Sunday, I will be on Whatnot selling a ton. I'll have 1 in 100s, 1 in 75 ratios, 1 in 200 ratios, crazy Star Wars variants. So make sure to check that out. And then, of course, Lucas, we've got Drunken Chat coming up immediately following this. You got anything coming up with Comic Crusaders or anything?
Oh, I'm always freaking sneaking behind the scenes and freaking just jumping in and cussing everybody out and then leaving. That's how I do, man. They're like, who was that? Oh, that was just drunk Lucas. Just don't worry about it.
Well, I want to remind everybody a big thank you again to the CBSI writers this week who took over and voted on the Hot 10 this week. So shout out to everybody over there. Make sure you go check it out. It is the wizard of nowadays. Amazing writers, amazing articles, as you guys can see here. Just a lot of great stuff. Make sure you guys go check it out ASAP. Good stuff.
Tomorrow night.
Shout out to Hive Comics.
Tomorrow night, Brian, 5 new books I'll have for speculation and investing. So come by Modern Comic Mayhem, 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern.
Amen. So make sure you guys check it out. Shout out to everybody. Make sure to give some love to the guys over at the writers over there. Make sure to go comment, show them some love for doing their good job. And hey, Richie and everybody that helped this week with the Almost 10, thank you. I really appreciate you guys. And next week Stein will be back with the writing the list and doing the Almost 10. Again, thank you to the amazing writers over at CBSI. Shout out to Rena, Topher, Phil Lee at Vintage Comics and Toys. Shout out to Andy Tomberlin. Those are the 4 guys I know for sure definitely worked on it. I don't know the rest. So much love to all of them. But like I said, they are doing a great job over there. Keep it up. The wizard of the internet for nowadays. comicbookinvest.com. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We will see you guys next time. Peace.